everybody, it's your old pal Mike here, just checking in. I hope that you're healthy and happy. It's a weird time right now. I think we can all agree with that. The reason I'm in front of you today is because I wanted to make a follow-up video for the Fender live stream that I did this week. If you didn't catch it, that episode was all about Weezer, specifically the Blue Album. We talked about the songs, the sounds, and some of the gear facts that a lot of people don't realize about the record. It was a really fun episode. I'm really happy with the way it came out. They even let me wear my Starfleet uniform, and I made a special comm badge. Do check that out. If you want to see that episode, I'll put a link to it down below in the description. However, there were a number of questions that came in during the episode that I just wasn't able to answer for whatever reason. So I thought I would address some of the most popular questions here in this video. First, what guitar am I using? Well, I'm using this. It's my replica of the Blue Strat that Rivers Cuomo famously played in the early days of Weezer. Just like the original, it's made from Warmoth parts. It has a flamed maple neck, an Indian rosewood fretboard, and Spurzl locking tuners. Side note, I'm not usually a fan of locking tuners, but these work great, so no complaints. It's got a Sonic Blue alder body with the same pickups that Rivers had in his original, which includes a Seymour Duncan Trembucker 59 in the bridge and a DiMarzio Super 2 in the neck. If you're not familiar with the DiMarzio Super 2, it's a brighter version of the Super Distortion. Also, I recreated the electrical tape design based on a bunch of screenshots that I took from Weezer playing Letterman in '95, as well as the Say It Ain't So video. It took me like 2.5 hours to do this the first time. I got it down to a tight 115. Here's the bridge pickup. And here's the neck. Controls are pretty simple on this guy. It's got a master volume and a 3-way selector switch for the pickups, but the tone knob? It's not a tone knob. Which brings me to another question. Does your guitar have a black ice module installed? The answer is yes, kind of. If you're unfamiliar with the black ice, it's basically a tweed overdrive circuit that's built into your guitar. It takes the place of your tone cap, so when you roll down the control, instead of getting that woolly bassy note, you get overdrive. It's pretty interesting. I don't have the actual black ice module installed. What I do have is a pair of 1N34A cat whisker diodes twisted together in reverse parallel. I'll show you how it sounds. First, my clean tone. And now with the black ice engaged. It's pretty interesting. Now that may not be a sound I always want to use. It's a little bit fizzy, a little bit ratty. However, it works really well as a thickening agent for an already overdriven amp, which is how I understand Rivers was using it on his original guitar. I most often used it live when I was trying to approximate the fuzzier lead sounds from songs like Pink Triangle, which has that orchestrated middle section, which goes something like this. You can hear it's a little more compressed, it's a little trashy, it's not as tight. It's not a good sound by any measure, however, it's kind of fun to have around if you need it. Another question we saw in the video was, what amp is Mike using? And that's a great question because I'm not using an amp at all. What I am using is the Line 6 Helix. I've got the floor model sitting in front of me, and I've got to say, it sounds great. Actually, way better than I ever expected. I have traditionally avoided modeling of any kind because most of it just never quite worked for me. It didn't feel right, didn't sound right. But Line 6 has knocked it out of the park with the Helix, and I couldn't be happier. So the Helix has been great to work with. However, it has been a bit of a learning curve for me because I'm an unintentional Luddite. I do best when there are knobs to turn, when there are switches to flip, and the Line 6 Helix presents a bit of a challenge because everything with a menu scares the hell out of me. However, I've gotten used to it, and I think I'm getting some really good sounds, but I haven't quite figured out how to share those settings yet. So in the meantime, Here are my settings. They're on screen. You can copy, you can screenshot, you can use them as a jumping off point for your own Weezer-themed excursions. Have at. I want to note that I'm using the Cali 4 lead setting. That's a model of a Mark IV Mesa amp, which is the closest thing to what Rivers used to record the rhythm guitars, which is a Mesa Mark I. To be sure, that's what you've been hearing throughout this entire video. Now I'm going to switch guitars to show you how I got the sound from the opening of Say It Ain't So. Now, if you didn't know, the intro to Say It Ain't So was actually recorded on Rick Ocasek's 1965 Jaguar, which is why it has such a distinct sound. To help me demonstrate, I've got my 63 Jaguar here, and you'll notice right off the bat that it's pretty heavily modified. I put a 1965 A-neck on here because I love those skinny nut widths. Skinny nuts! You'll also notice that I've outfitted it with a pair of Curtis Novak 12 pickups. I've always wanted a Jaguar with these jangly pickups in it, so I bought one that had some issues and made that dream come true. Now, to get the sound from the intro of Say It Ain't So, you're going to need a Fender Jaguar, and the reason for that is this little switch right here. We often call this the strangle switch, but basically what it is a bass cut switch. It passes high frequencies. So when you combine that with the neck pickup, you get something that sounds like this. Oh yeah, all right. Pretty close, right? Now the model I'm using for that sound is an A30 Fawn Brit, which is a euphemism for an AC30. Now I couldn't find mention of an AC30 on Weezerpedia or any of the other sites that we Weezer fanatics use to catalog the gear. However, I have a friend in Seattle named Aaron who many years ago bought an AC30 that he was told was used on the Blue album. And I didn't believe him at the time because, you know, the sites didn't say. But judging by the sound I've got, I think Aaron's dead on. It sounds like an AC30. Once again, I have no idea how to share these things. I'm sorry, I'm working on it. Here are the settings I was using. You can use them as a jumping off point. Go wild. Now the last question I want to address is why have a Weezer cover band at all? And the answer to that is because it's fun, Jan. It was a blast putting together this guitar and the Matt Sharp bass that we built, playing a show and seeing people go wild for these songs. These songs still mean things to people, and they mean things to me too. There's an undeniable magic to gathering a group of people together and singing your hearts out to songs that everybody knows the words to. That communal energy is the best thing about playing live. And because I built this guitar, I got to meet Rivers Cuomo and show it to him. He played it for a minute and said it felt exactly like the original. And that's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Also, we built a replica of Matt Sharp's monster bass. And because of that project, Matt Sharp found out and started teasing me on Instagram about things I had missed when I built my replica. It was incredible. And when Matt finally came through town with the rentals, he invited us to the show. He used the bass that I built. And after the show, Matt Sharp hung out with us for an hour and pointed out things we got right, things we missed, and things that even he had forgotten about because, you know, parts get changed when you're touring. It was an incredible experience, and all of that happened because we let ourselves be fans. If you like a band, you like a song, you like the sound of something, pursue it. Go nuts. Have fun with it. Learn to play the songs. Learn to make those sounds. Figure out what makes your favorite records tick. And I guarantee that you'll never be bored. Liking things is the best, and I fully endorse it. Oh, I'm sorry for going off. Okay. That's me off my soapbox. I'll end the video. I know it's too long already. But before I go, our Weezer tribute band was called My Name is Jonas Brothers. That title still makes me laugh every time I think of it. If you want to know what we sounded like, I'll leave some links down in the description below. Otherwise, I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're taking care of each other. Reach out to a friend if you need to, and stay safe in this incredibly weird time in which we all find ourselves. That's it. Video's over. Bye!